One funny one, we're coming up to Hanukkah. Well, who preserved the Hanukkah stories? They're in Greek. It was the Christians that preserved the Hanukkah stories in Greek that you hear every year in the Jewish world.
Okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. This is good though. Okay,
but here's and you see this, but it's even outside because obviously this guy's coming from a religious commitment, a commitment to. He probably sees, Yeshiva University. Probably the halakha is the Word of God. So capital H halakha, capital W, Word of God. That Moses received a second revelation,
right?
A second Torah on Mount Sinai, and it is equal as Word of God in binding and authority for all Jews. Okay, so we can just appreciate that's his commitment. Okay, we don't share that commitment with him.
Well, there was a split, right? We've talked about this a lot. That split happened and I think the Christians did it first. In other words, the Christians take on their extra writings, their, let's say oral Torah, which is the New Testament, the apostolic scriptures. And Judaism doesn't write down their
Yeshua, our the central figure in all history, Yeshua, the most famous Jew in all history. There's never going to be a Jew that even comes remotely as known as Yeshua. The first two people called rabbi in all of Jewish literature history are John the Baptist and Jesus of Nazareth.
Right.
And that's just a given. But even aside from this religious back and forth that we might be having with this particular product of Yeshiva University, is that like when we go to SBL, where it's faith is kind of shelved for the academic, rigorous investigation of things like archaeology, history, manuscripts,
right,
translations, language, all this stuff. That even in that realm where faith is marginalized, you still have the claim of that at the early Christian, and this would be an example, the early Christians appropriated Jewish texts and made a new religion. So the claim that this guy is just regurgitating is found in a lot of different domains, and that's another one, the academic domain. You'll find scholars that still to this day, they make it look like a bunch of Gentiles came, saw some stuff that Jews were doing, took bits and pieces of it, and went and made a new religion. And they actually there's people who accept that. They accept that as the easiest explanation, as some even as an obvious explanation of the history of the last 2,000 years, and it's wrong. It's like a kid drawing in a crayon, maybe by a toddler scribbling with a crayon, but it's not accurate. And what this guy's doing is doing the same thing. He's just reiterating the same claim. So he's just changing what it is. So you guys just steal from us. This is the idea. You steal from us and make something that's inauthentic. You go somewhere where they have the authentic thing. You pick and choose and steal and make something new, and you try to pull it off or sell it as authentic.
So actually, this is his next comment. Okay, he says, "Where do you get the term Torah from?" Well, actually, from the Torah. Yeah, it's called Torah, not from the rabbis. How do you know what tzitzit would look like? Well, the Torah. The Torah tells us. Of course, you rely on the rabbis who reject Jesus. Don't you see a problem with that? So in the chat room already, we have a lot being posted. What about the fact that the Torah uses the pagan names for the months? The one I love, what about Rob? Yesterday you brought up the idea of the word synagogue. Well, synagogue is a Greek term. It's not a Hebrew term. It's not an Aramaic term. It's a Greek term. What about?
There's thousands of Greek.
Same with afikomen, right? And the ritual of the afikomenos, which I think from all historical data that we can look at, came from the Christians and was taken by the rabbis and incorporated into the Passover Seder.
Karpas,
not the other way around.
Karpas is also, if we're talking about the Passover Seder, the karpas, that's also a Greek word,
right?
For a certain kind of plant.
the entire Seder being basically based on the Greek symposium.
Oh yeah, with the multiple. Yeah,
I mean, come on. There's just so the idea
there's an entire tractate of the Mishnah that supposedly goes to Moses that's called Sanhedrin. It's Greek.
Don't miss any clips from Messiah Matters by clicking the subscribe button. Also, give this video a thumbs up and share it so other people can see it too.